This is Luke from Emo Electric. We're here today to talk about one of the boat packages that we offer through Flux Marine, which is this Scout 215 Dorado powered by Flux's 100 horsepower electric outboard. We've had the boat for about a month and a half now. We've been really happy with it. We're excited to show you all a little bit about it. We'll talk about the motor itself, batteries that go along with it, how to charge the boat, a little bit about the hull, and then we'll take it out for a test ride and see what the range is like. So the Scout Dorado package is powered by one of Flux's 100 horsepower electric outboards. It's a 75 kilowatt motor, so it gives about the same performance as a 100 horsepower combustion outboard, but its acceleration power is actually close to 150 horsepower outboard. This electric outboard is unique in that it's belt driven. So you can see down here, there's actually two struts to the lower unit that the belt passes through, which turns the prop. You might also notice that the prop is much bigger than what you typically see on an outboard. That's because there's a lot more torque to these electric motors. So these props are more efficient than the smaller ones when you go electric. This motor also has a closed loop cooling system, which is part of it's in the cavitation plate there. So there's no water that flows through the outboard itself. So you don't have to rinse it with fresh water afterwards like you do with a lot of four strokes. So we've become big fans of that. And then the charging port's just over here. So we'll go into how to charge the motor later on, but that pops up and then your charger just goes right in there. So this boat has its batteries built into the hull where the gas tank would typically be. So if you look down here, you can see this access hatch that is now screwed in and sealed, but there's 3 battery packs under there that total 84 kilowatt hours of capacity. And then back here, we have the power distribution unit and the 12 volt house battery. So the house battery is down there on the right. That's a lithium 12 volt battery, powers all your 12 volt electronics, and then actually gets charged off of the high voltage packs that power the motor. And then down here is your power distribution unit. So the wiring runs from the batteries to the PDU and then to the motor. And you can think of the PDU as kind of like the brains of the whole system here. So the main draw of this boat is the electric outboard from Flux Marine, but we've got a great hull to go with it. So this is the 21-foot Scout Dorado. There's a center console version of this boat as well, if you're more into fishing, but this boat is more so for families, but it's multi-purpose. You still get the live well in there. There's a saltwater washdown hose that you can connect to the live well as well. Nice little swim step back here. We've got a ladder over on the starboard side. Easy pass through there. Your light goes right there. That's your all-around white light. So you can see plenty of rod holders as well. We don't have the bimini on right now, but there is a bimini that goes with this boat. We have plenty of seating. So we've got a bench on the port side here, a little seat on the starboard side. And then if you need more than that, you can open this guy up and you've got even more places to sit. Of course, we've got 2 helm seats up here. We'll get into everything on the helm itself in a little while, but we've got plenty of cup holders all around. I think there's probably close to 10 on this boat. We've got 12 volt power on both the passenger side and the driver's side. Makes it easy to charge your phone or other 12 volt accessories. Plenty of storage under here. On the port side, you can put a portable head in there if you like to have a bathroom on the boat. And then the starboard side is just storage and also easy access to your electronics there. Up in the bow here, we've got more seating. We've got these armrests that fold down on both sides. Underneath the port and starboard side, these flip up on hinges. Plenty of room for storage down there. This seat pops up as well, and you can access the anchor locker from in there. And then of course, the anchor locker itself is just below this hatch. A lot of great features, plenty of places to hold on to the cleats. You can lift them up, push them down when they're not in use. You know, it's just a great modern hull. It does really well in the waves. It's a pretty calm day, so we might not be able to demonstrate that today, but that's an overview of the boat here. All right, so we're just about ready to head out there. We'll show you how to use this boat. It's pretty intuitive, similar to any gas boat that you've operated before, with a couple little differences. So we've powered on our Garmin here. This has information about the motor, and then it's also your standard Garmin chart plotter. To get the motor going, turn everything on, make sure our kill switch is in. Same thing you're used to with the gas outboard. With our key, we're just gonna turn it to the right to give power to the motor, and then press this button here to power the motor on. Our throttle has trim on it, just like a standard gas outboard. So you can see the motor going down, and that's about it. So we're heading out of the cove here, and it's a great time to show you guys the integrated display from Flux. So on all the Flux motors, you have a Garmin that comes with it. And not only will it work as a traditional Garmin would, but it gives you all the data you need about the motor itself. So on the left here, you can see that we're at 91% state of charge, and we have an 81-mile range at this speed, which is 5 miles an hour. Also get our RPMs there, tells us we're in forward. And then all the way on the right there, you can see how many kilowatts of power we're drawing right now, which is about 3.8, and how many kilowatts per mile we're using. So you can think of that kind of like miles per gallon. We also have our trim angle. So if I trim the motor up, trim the motor down, we can see it right on the screen there. And if we want to change our display around, just click down there, and also go home. And what I usually use is the combo. That gives us our chart plotter on one side, and then all our data for the motor on the other side. So we can also dive a little bit deeper into the data that we're getting from the motor. You can see your RPMs, power and horsepower, how much DC power we're drawing right now, our torque, and what percentage of throttle we're at on the left-hand side there. On the right, you can get a bunch of temperatures relating to the motor and the battery. Most of the stuff in the middle there are things that you can see on the main screen, but the range metric that I really like to look at is what they call endurance. So we can see at this speed, we would get 19 hours and 15 minutes of runtime. So when you're going slowly, range really isn't an issue. When we're going fast, we'll see that runtime drop down significantly. But if you're the kind of boater who's taking it slow most of the time, don't expect that you'd have any issues with range on a boat like this. All right, so we've made it out of the cove here. We're just about ready to hit the gas. We'll show you what it feels like to accelerate with an electric outboard. So we mentioned before, it's a 100 horsepower motor, provides 100 horsepower of continuous power, or about 75 kilowatts, but the acceleration power is actually higher. So when we get on the plane, the motor will put out about 111 kilowatts of power, which is more similar to 150 horsepower gas outboard. So we'll hit the gas now. So we're going to try and give you an idea of what this motor sounds like. Obviously, one of the appeals of electric is that they're much quieter than gas outboards, especially compared to a two-stroke, but certainly compared to a four-stroke as well. So we're going to get the camera close to the motor, get back up on the plane, and we'll see if you can hear what it's like. Obviously, it still makes noise, but it's a lot quieter than a gas outboard. So we'll bring the boat back up on the plane here, but this time we'll show you the display. If you look in the upper right, you'll see our endurance, which is our range in minutes and hours. That will come down pretty significantly as the boat starts to go fast. You'll also notice that the power output will jump way up when we accelerate, and then it will come down and level off as the boat settles in on the plane. So if you were paying attention, you saw that the runtime went down significantly once we got up on the plane. We had about 48 minutes of runtime at full speed, which translates to about an hour if we were at 100% state of charge. Right now we're at 87%. That was also at max speed, so if we pull that back a little bit, then our range will go up a touch. Now we're back to 5 miles an hour, back to 10 hours and 45 minutes of runtime now. So if you're deciding whether or not an electric boat's a good fit for you, it's important to think about how you use the boat. This technology with the batteries and just the weight and the cost of them kind of limits what sort of runtime we can have in an electric boat. So if you're going to fish 30 miles offshore, the electric tech isn't quite there yet. But what we found is for most boaters, this is more than enough. We just went from where we keep the boat over to this beautiful spot in Moriches Bay here. We've got the ocean just on the other side, a couple great little beaches to stop at. We went fast for a little more than half the way over here, and we've only used 7% of our charge. I think we started with 94% today. So if we were to stop at the beach, turn around and go back, we'd probably still have 80% state of charge at the end of the day. Another advantage of using an electric outboard is that there's no real minimum for RPMs, unlike a gas outboard where the motor needs to be running at about 600-700 RPMs or more. With an electric outboard, you can get down to about 50 RPMs. So when you're docking, you don't have to jump in and out of neutral quite as much as you do with a gas outboard. You can come in nice and slowly, gives you a little bit more control, and it really just makes docking a breeze. So we just got back to the dock here. We'll show you what we do to put this boat away and how to charge it. So right now the motor is still on. You can tell that by the indicator lights that are on the back and the top of the cowling. We're gonna raise the motor up out of the water like we would with any outboard. We're gonna turn the key to power it off, and we're gonna grab our charger, which we have mounted to the dock here. So the charger to the motor itself is actually built in. This is just your standard EV charger. We've mounted this to the dock here, but you can use portable EV chargers as well. I'm gonna open up the top of the cowling, take off this seal, and then plug her right in. Once that's plugged in, it takes a second or two, and then it'll start charging. We can see the charge time over here on our dash. You can also see it on the Flux Marine app. So all of these systems are connected to the internet over the air. So from your phone, you can see what the state of charge is, you can see where your boat is, lots of great features, and I know Flux is still working to expand that app and its capabilities. In terms of charge time, on 110 regular wall outlet like we have here, it's an overnight charge to get from 20% to 80% state of charge. With typical shore power, you find at a marina, it's about 7.5 hours to go from 20% to 80%. And on DC fast charger, it would only take about 1.5 hours to do that. So having 220 volt power or shore power definitely goes a long way in how quickly this will charge. And DC chargers on the water are pretty rare these days, but there are more and more coming online all the time. So we hope that you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below in the comments. If you like more information about electric outboards, please subscribe to our channel. And if you're interested in purchasing one of these boats or any of the boats that Flux Marine offers, please feel free to get in touch. We'll link our website in the description below.